if x exists, if y exists. By exist, we should know Matt's correct description is non-zero, right? So you could reread it. If this exists and is non-zero. I just obviously assume non-zero, but because I've been doing it. But that's a good oversight that you called out.
So it could be any variety of numbers as long as it's not zero.
That is correct. I'm gonna, there are other things like lists, so guys, don't worry about lists. It's just a container of values, of variables, okay? X now equals this list, and if I did like the sum of X, what's it gonna be?
It should be seven.
Yeah, right. So just so you understand the idea here, the reason I'm gonna show this, if X, right? So X is now this list, and in case you're wondering, don't worry, we're not doing this today. I'm just trying to show the point about the testing. Type of X is a list, it exists. If we do the if X, is this going to go, yes or no?
Should.
It does. Because X bool of X, bool just means tell me, is this thing considered true or false, right? It's a true, it's a list that has objects in it. To Todd's question, if we set it to an empty list, which is a thing, it's just an empty list, and again to prove type of X, list, it exists, it's empty. If we do the if, it's going to fail. Because an empty list, which we haven't gotten to these data structures yet, but an empty list equates to zero, equates to false.
So it might be too far down that hole on your base, but why have zero be false? Why is that part of it?
Traditionally, right, you know, a boolean value
Goes back decades.
is 0 or 1, right? Every bit is everything's encoded as a 0 or 1, right? Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay, let's wrap up while loops. Big picture of a while loop, for those who aren't familiar or don't remember. All it's saying is, while something is true, do the code that's in the while block. So we call this, right, we had if blocks earlier with the if statement and then indented over. I'll get right there. Indented over, we had all the code we were going to do, print statements or whatever in that case, if it was true, right? Well, same thing, while statement, do whatever's indented, this belongs to that while statement. Do this stuff while this condition is true. That's all it means in the big picture. While something remains true, do whatever we've coded. Do whatever we tell you. Okay? So, can anyone think of something, the code shows it, and you can deduce it, but can anyone think of something we need to happen? This is sort of the catch for people, especially new to while loops. Something we need to happen in the while block, so in the code, that happens while something is true, while the while loop is looping. So the while loop just loops over and over and over until it's not true. Can you think of something we need to happen inside of the while loop to ensure that we don't have an error or to ensure that the while loop ends?
Encounter a false statement?
Well, it does. So technically, it needs at some point to encounter the test needs to be false at some point. Technically speaking, yes. What do we need in our code to make that happen? I heard two things. You go first.
I would say like equals, so that if it's just greater than 8, let them just keep going until, you know.
Okay. Not quite, but you're thinking in the right idea.
You have to increment.
That's right. The term we're going to use is update. Whatever the test is, in this case, x is less than or equal to 8, we have to update x. In this case, we're adding it, right? So x starts at 0, or excuse me, starts at 1, and every iteration, right, every loop, we add 1 to x. So while 1 is less than or equal to 8, add 1 to x. What is x equal now? 1 plus 1. Thank you. While 2 is less than or equal to 8, add 1 to x. What's x now? 3, 2 plus 1. 3, while 3 is less than or equal to 8, add 1 to x. 4, you get the idea, it goes up. When x is 8, we keep adding, right? When x is 8, the next time we go, 8 plus 1 equals 9. Uh-oh, while 9 is less than or equal to 8, false, that's not true. No more looping. We're out of the loop. You have got to update whatever your test is. If you don't, if we did not have this, and we just said, while x is less than or equal to 8, add this to a total, this test never gets updated, right? Because 1, which is what x starts as, will always, always be less than or equal to 8, and we're not changing x, we're not adding to it. So that loop never ends. We call that an infinite loop. You may have heard that term if you own any Apple product, because their headquarters is at one infinite loop in Cupertino, right? I mean, because they have a loop drive, so it's like a ha-ha, right? You know, but yeah.
So then if the total was the last line in the loop, then it wouldn't assign the value to total for x and y. Is that correct? We're trying to figure out order.
Order only matters how much we're adding to total. Notice total is not in the check. It's not in the test. Total is just some value we're adding to. We're not testing for it. Whether it's before or after this x update, only changes how much we're adding to the total, whatever that value is. The only thing that the loop cares about is this guy. Is the variable it's testing, is it being updated, right? My advice to you is play with this very short thing. And I'm going to show you guys the infinite loop. I'm going to copy this guy directly, all right? And I'm going to show you, because if you have not experienced this, and if you're not printing out, what you'll get, what you'll get is a script or program that looks like it's frozen, okay? It's just, I'm going to show you whenever I print, or whenever I run this. I'm going to do it printing, and I'm going to do it not printing. And when we don't print, because it's cycling over and over and over, but it's not giving you an update, you're like, what the heck is going on? It's frozen, it's not doing anything. And you go crazy over your code. And the whole time, it's an infinite loop. Your program is fine, you just didn't update something. All right, here we go, I'm going to show you. That's really confusing to people who aren't familiar, because really you think your program or your computer, you think your computer's frozen. And it's not, it's just running infinitely on this thing you've done. Okay, so I'm going to run this. What do we expect to see? We expect x starts as 1, right? Total 0. We iterate through, and we're going to print total. But what are we adding to it, right? Here, I'll write it. Right? We're starting with 0. Total is 0. Actually, that's too faint. We're starting with 0, and whatever the code is, total plus equals x, whatever that is. So we start with 0. The first time we go through, we do plus 1. X gets added, right? The next time we do is plus 2, right? The next keeps going up, and we're adding x to total each time. You get the idea, up to 8, right? And we're taking this as the sum, right? We're going to sum that, because that's the total, because it's adding it. So we're going to get that. There we go. 36. Wow, that seemed fast, that seemed easy. Now I'm going to show you under the hood, right? And what I'm going to do is print. No, don't do that. Thank you. Print total, right? Total starts, I'm doing that after the update. It starts at 0, so the first one is actually going to print 1, because it's after the first addition. There we go. Boom. 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, right? When we see it finally, that's the final print there. So the loop ran through until x was 9, and then it killed itself. Now, what I'm going to do is print x, and then I'm going to show you the fun one. Okay, so x is the value that's being updated, right? And it's being incremented by 1 each time. So we expect to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 36 if the total is we're printing total. Okay, now here's the thing. If we do not update this guy, so hashtag means comment, which means you can keep the code there, but it won't run. As far as the interpreter is concerned, it doesn't exist. It's invisible, okay? So I'm going to run this. We're not updating x already. X is always going to be 1. It's never changing. It looks like it's frozen almost with 1. It is printing infinite ones. I'm going to scroll up to show you, and it's going to see on my sidebar on the right. I'm scrolling up, and it's just never stopping. Like, I'm going to hit enter, and it's going right back down. You can see it maybe flash every now and then. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, because it's never stopping. So you hit Control-C, by the way. Okay, Control-C is a keyboard interrupt. We never got to print total, because it never ended, right? What if, let's see, something that might visually help you? Let's do this. I think we just print it right here. That should probably work, right? Plus equal x plus equal. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Let's see how fast it's going, how many iterations. Whoa. Okay, it's already done. That's 700,000. It's at 1 million. 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, about to be 2 million. I mean, so it's gone 3 million times and it hasn't ended. If you aren't printing this out, you have no idea what's going on. It looks like it's frozen. So that's what's really happening. While loops, if you don't update, you get an infinite loop. Your program crashes. I hit Control-C now. Look, it's still printed 4 times. So here's my Control-C. This up caret, that's the symbol for control on Mac. It printed 4 times. It iterated 4 times after I told it to kill. That's like how quickly it's churning through, okay? Okay, that's a while loop. He breaks it down in a tabular way and then in a graphical way here. And it's just always true. Here's the infinite loop. Control flow, you can have a while loop with an if test in it and other stuff in it, and print this, then that, whatever. You get to combine stuff, right? Obviously, that makes sense. This is programming. You get to build cool stuff and all that. The break statement says exit. It comes only in loops, and it says exit whatever loop we're in this case a while loop. Exit whenever, it reaches the break. In this case, he says once it gets to 25, print, and then break. Yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. That's the end of the lecture. You can start your assignment. Normally they won't go quite this long, but I had sort of that intro talking about stuff. So work on your assignments and hit Gretchen and I out. What's up? I'm going to bring it up here. Just let me see what you're talking about. So, I'll do it on mine.
Because I did type it up and run it.
Okay, so where on here are you referring to? This guy?
Yeah, the one hanging out on the very top line.
After X is
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I didn't think about that. That might be confusing. This is the exact, so I'm just going to come down here to new space. You can assign multiple variables on a single line when you separate them by a comma. I'll just do it with x and y. X and y equal 1, comma 2. X equals 1, y equals 2. And to prove it, here's y, 2, here's x, 1. Right? That's all it is. That is the same as doing this. X equals 1, y equals 2. It's just on one line.
Wait, so that means total equals 0 and x equals 1. If you read the line.
Yes, total equals 0 because we want to start at 0 because we're counting the total that we've summed. And x
So it's not
starts
total
with
x equals 0, it's total equals 0 x.
That is correct. Total equals 0, x equals 1. Because if you read the lecture, I'm not sure if you did this. Did you do this? Is this the real one? Yeah, okay. So the whole point of the while loop, which I skimmed over this because it's confused people in the past. I wrote it up there if you could barely see it. The whole point was, hey, your boss says, I want you to write something that can take the sum from 1 to 8. Well, here's one way to code it, right? We can literally write 1 plus 2 plus 3, blah, 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 to whatever. Okay, that's not very smart now, is it? Because what if tomorrow your boss comes in and says, you know what, instead of 8, turns out we have 45 clients. Do you want to write 1 plus 2 plus 3, blah, 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 all the way to 45? No, right? What if the next day you have 43? Do you want to go in and delete numbers? No. This kind of programming is called brittle because it works in one and only one way, and it breaks whenever we need to change something, right? We don't want that. So the way to accomplish that was you do know that we summed this. Does anyone remember the value?
36.
36. We summed this using a while loop. There are other ways to do this. We will actually return to this in week 3. We have once we do functions, we have a very simple, sensible way. You're like, oh yeah, clearly this is the way you would do this. Anyway, the point is, we use the while loop to do this instead of writing it out. So whoever asked that question or something, I don't remember what it was. There you go. Oh yeah, we'll also call that hard-coded, sorry. I always say brittle, but yeah, hard-coded. Or, depending on the application, we might say brute force. We brute forced it, which not exactly applicable in that case, but you would understand what someone meant if they said that. Yeah, what's up?
Does the range function just effectively do a while loop for you?
No, the range, so we had a question, what does the range function do? Does it do a while loop? Depends, first of all, if you're in Python 2 or 3. Are you in 3? Okay, good. That's good job. That's the right one. Python 3, so in Python 2, the range function actually just made a list. You guys saw me use that list earlier, 1, 2, 3. Don't worry, we'll get into this next week. Lists are like one of the bread and butter data types. They're a container and iterable. They're one of the bread and butter ones for Python. We'll talk about them. You'll use them a lot. They're very user-friendly. They aren't necessarily very efficient. I'll cover that. Well, normally I cover that in the final week. I'm not going to be here, so I'll cover it before then. But that's all irrelevant right now. Range will do this, just so you can see. I'm going to be a little incorrect here, just for your convenience, so that you can understand. If we did range, you guys this is all coming up in the next lectures anyway. I understand this is going to be probably hard for y'all to read far away. If we did range 5, what that gives us, you can think of it this way, and I'll give you the exact correct thing in a second. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It starts, Python is 0 index. That means the first number is 0, and we end at 1 minus that minus 1. So it's not inclusive of that. 0 to 4 gives you a range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can change that. If you wanted to start at 1, you could do range 1, comma 5, and that would actually start at 1 and go to 4. Whatever, very flexible. But you can think of range doing that. However, technically, in Python 2, this is literally what range did. It gave you a list. You would say, type, like we did type around that earlier to see type of x gave us an int. We could do type of range 5, and it would say list. In Python 3, it doesn't. Python 3, it's what's called a generator. We are not even going to cover those in this course, but it's a memory efficient way to handle things. However, it doesn't actually exist permanently. Long story short, once you access this number, like you access 0, it goes away so that the list shrinks, basically, to save memory. That's an easy way to describe it. So what you would do in Python 3, if you wanted the object, you would actually just cast it as a list. So you would say, list, range, 5, and that would actually give you the list that I just erased, the actual list. However, if you're iterating through it, you just, I don't know what you're doing or not, you may be really advanced, I don't know. But if you're doing like a for loop or something, and you don't need the list object, you can just do for, X, for number in range, whatever, and it's made to iterate through. Yeah, what's up?
Which is, you have the Boolean true or false. Is there such a thing in any Python scripts of exit codes or status being, do you have to ever put in, like, for example, I can show it to you this. Would you ever do a thing like, if 20,000 lines of code ran, exit 0, which would be true, or if they didn't, false? Is there that?
If it's in a function, we would just return true or false.
But what about the whole 20,000 line huge mega file? I know that's a bad way to design, but you know what I'm saying? What would you do? Or is it possible to do it in Python?
Exit, so you're wanting to exit the script itself, not
Yeah.
a function, but the script
Victor?
itself.
If the 20,000 lines of code ran or not?
We can use, okay, there are 3 or 4 primary ways to exit. One is with sys, so we have to import the sys module, sys, sys.exit would. There are a couple others. I don't remember them offhand. I do have them saved.
Okay.
And I could probably dig them up and send you, there's actually a really good post on it.
Okay.
And I could send that to you.
Or put it on the Slack. Put it on the Slack.
Or so I could Slack it?
Okay.
But offhand, sys.exit is the main way people exit like a script, but I'm not sure if that just clobbers, so pretend you had like 3 scripts, if that just exits like everything or just the
Nicole?
one that you're currently running. There are different ways to tweak that.
So you don't know if this concept of Boolean for the whole process or script exists in Python or not. It may or may. I don't know. This is
I
why I'm
guess
thinking
to be
Python.
honest, I am just not exactly sure what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay, pretend before this there were 30,000 lines of code.
Yes.
And you were doing this complex
Yes.
program. You wanted to go through all of them. You wanted to make sure it ran successfully. That's when you use it, at least in the Unix world, in Linux world.
And so you're, just to be clear, so the way I'm interpreting that is what you're saying is, if all these things basically pass, do all the stuff I want, then exit or do not exit. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Okay.
then exit or do not exit, right?
Not only
Whatever.
exit, but tell me what happened. Did it choke or did it run successfully? That's what they're doing in Unix.
So you're assigning an exit value to it, basically.
Boolean.
Yeah, yes, sorry, yes,
Okay,
yeah, a good or a bad,
So, yeah.
basically. Wow, I have to be honest and say I do not know about exiting with a bool attached.
Okay. I know there's a Unix, Linuxy system thing, but I was just wondering if there's a similar.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know ways we can manipulate stuff and test stuff. Of course, we have a really good testing modules that are done within the standard library. Really
But we're
nice.
going to get to that in this course.
We do not touch those, but I can refer you to some good write-ups on it, and I can show you. Very simple.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't necessarily involve exiting the script, obviously with a bool value of yes or no or good or bad, if you want to think of it that way.
You have to use the return code, right? So
Yeah.
it's sys.exit. You have to import the sys library.
That's, yeah.
And
Oh.
you just put in the value that you want to exit with, and then
Can you do that?
echo or print.
Yeah, you can.
Some kind of text with that.
The thing I would do is the way if you're trying to run 30,000 lines of code and you just want to see if it runs, I would just import a testing module like PyTest, do your test, write your test, and if it runs clean, then it's just going to end the script anyway, right? It exits with no faults. Otherwise, it has an assert. It tells you where the line and the error and everything with that.
The only thing that would help on the code. The only system-wise, it wouldn't help to get.
Correct. And
See,
not in that way,
Exactly, yeah. So, I don't.
So
I'm
look
showing
up,
my
do this.
sysadmin
Let's take
DevOps
math.
side. Okay.
I'm down. I don't know where you're.
Well, I mean, this is Google. You want to bring up a browser or what?
Yeah, just a new tab for me.
Okay.
I don't want to hit the wrong. There you go.
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
control. All right. This is the guy right here. Actually, that one right here might be. How to read, something like that. That's the module. It has the various exit commands. sys.exit is fine, but there's another way that I don't remember. I have it saved and I've never had to use it, but there are like actually two other ways to be very particular about how you handle an exit.
Okay.
I can try and find that and send that to you.
Okay, thanks. Or
Or you can
again,
just ask Matt.
yeah, okay, thanks.